All right, let's get this carburetor apart. So first thing you'll need is a 1/2-inch socket. That's to take the carburetor bowl nut off, or main jet anyway. So we'll drain out the fuel. It smells old, but I don't think I'm seeing any water in there. Yeah, I'm not seeing any water in there. Interesting. Oh, spoke too soon. There's the water in there. There was water in there after all. Safe to say the float is working because it wasn't spilling fuel everywhere and the tank was full. If the float wasn't working, which would mean that it would be full of fuel or wasn't floating, then this would have been overflowing and that tank likely would have been empty. And the oil either would have been overfilled or the engine would have been filled with gasoline, or it would have poured out all over the place. And the air filter didn't smell like gas, so kind of knew that it wasn't leaking gas. Let's get this pin out. Yeah, as I said, it's fine. Needle looks good. Take the air filter housing. Well, we're not going to get the housing off. That's going to stay on this carburetor. Take off the intake. That we're going to need our 3/8 again. This side 7/16, but I mean you can hold it with a wrench or a pair of pliers, or in this case wire strippers. Well, that's on there tight. We're going to put all this through the ultrasonic, get it all nice and cleaned up. Must be years of buildup on the end. Perfect. There we go. Carburetor's off. This part came perfectly free, which is awesome. So we don't have to take all that apart. And we can clean all that out. Put it all through the ultrasonic, make this nice and clean. This emulsion tube that's in here does not come out. It's a brass one. If you look in on a Tecumseh and you see a brass emulsion tube, especially if it's a smaller engine like the LEV90 that this one is, there's a very, very good chance that it doesn't come out. In fact, it's like a 99% chance it won't come out. And if it does come out, you broke it. So, I mean, don't take my word for it being gospel, because I haven't seen every older Tecumseh engine with a brass emulsion tube, but from my experience, every Tecumseh I've come across with a brass emulsion tube, it's in there. It's not coming out. Anyway, let's get this thing in the ultrasonic and we'll get it all cleaned out. All right, so it looks like the carb came out pretty good. It's got a little bit of dirt on it, but it's not too bad. Internally, it looks fantastic. Good. Good sign. Let's get the hardware. I don't see a seat in there. Oh, there is one. There's a seat. All right, so let's change that out. Let me grab one. Let's see how this gasket is. And it's seen better days. So we might as well replace the needle, the gasket, and the seat, because why not? This way I can show you guys how to do that. So you can see how to replace the seat, and then we'll get these gaskets replaced. So let's pull the seat. There it is. There's the old seat. Now the new one. This tool, it will be linked down below. And when putting on the seat, you want to make sure that the ridge side faces, I guess it would be towards the ceiling when you put it on the tool, but when you're putting it in the carb, it should face, well, I guess it would face the ceiling of the carb. So that's the direction we're putting it in. And if it doesn't want to go in very easily, oh, we can add a little bit of WD-40. That should help make it go in easier. You can also use 2-stroke oil if you have it. There, that went in nice and easy. Now it's got a new seat, and get rid of the old one. There's a new bowl gasket. Now we'll replace the needle. By needle. I'll have the Tecumseh Carburetor rebuild kit. I'll have it linked below. There we we go, got the needle on. Now I'll put it back on the float, get the float in, and hopefully I don't drop the needle.
Drop it!
I guess we'll go in on this side. Now next, of course, is the main jet and bolt, aka the bowl nut. Okay, so let's poke these holes out. I think it's only the one on this one. Yeah, it seems like that's the only hole, was that one. Interesting. Well, that makes it easier. Yeah, there's nothing in the sides. Cool. Right, so that's basically done. Now we can reassemble it. It's the new gasket. And then we get the bowl on. We got to make sure we line it up. New bowl gasket. Main jet. Half-inch wrench. And we snug it all down. Perfect. That's back together. Now we'll get it on the intake. That's these two. Looks like the intake gasket's still there. That's the intake for the engine side. It's stuck around. Actually, I think there's two of them. There's two gaskets here. Interesting. Why is there two gaskets? We don't need two. Or is it only one? It's just really thick. No, it is two. One of them split. That's why. Nice. Maybe I shouldn't have touched it. Oh, it's broken. Right, I'm gonna have to make one up. Anyway, that goes to the engine. Has nothing to do with this part. So now we'll get the bolts through. Get the carburetor gasket on. And there we go. And then this hooks in. Always easier to do this before you mount it. Actually, let's quickly put that on. Right here. Stupid hands. And of course, 3/8 on the outside, 7/16 on the inside. Let me just tighten it down. We repeat on the other side. There. And then you drop that. Good thing it's off the engine. There. Now it's back on. And that's how you clean one of these old Tecumseh carburetors. Now to get it back on the engine.